Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and today we're going to talk about a game that I really wanted to like. So Nevada City is a worker placement game back in like when you're settling the Old West or whatever. It has a couple unique things to it, but I think like to just wrap your head around what type of game it is, to just say that it's a worker placement, send out workers to gain resources and spend those to build buildings and to, complete contracts for points. You pretty much understand the type of game that this is, at least. Probably the single most unique thing about this game, though, is the fact that you don't have it's not like a typical worker placement game where I place a worker, then you place a worker, then you place a worker, then you place a worker until it comes back to me, then I place one. It's that you have characters that have little action tokens on them, and you pick a character, you activate that character, and then you spend all the activation tokens that they have. So some characters only have one activation token, some have three, but actually each character also is like better at certain things. Like they'll be better at so basically when you send these workers out, the little activation tokens, those are essentially workers. Like, I'm going to activate this thing that has three workers on it, and then the three workers, I'm going to put this worker, this worker, this worker, now I'm done with my turn, okay? You understand the concept. But a good example of like sort of the flow of the game is if you send workers to your personal little farm, you'll gather some resources, you can spend those resources for money, and then you can trade money for commodities, which are like a higher end type of resource, and then you can spend those and in combination with the other resources to build more buildings, which help you do things, faster and better, and ultimately complete contracts, which is another big way to get points. And I mean, it doesn't exactly flow that way. As more buildings get put out there, you'll find a better way to churn those resources into commodities, into better things. But that's the long and short of like what you're going to be doing. But like some of these characters might do some of those things a little bit better. Like some of them might, when you go to on your little farm to operate a mine for ore, I think it is, they'll be able to activate two mines instead of just one. Or for grass, I don't know, there's a three. What are they? What are the resources? Yeah, there's like ore, meat, and I don't know, vegetables or something. But some of these characters will be better when you go to gather that resource, they'll gather more. Or like when you go build buildings and stuff, these people will actually will already have an extra commodity for that. So if they have a brick on them, then when I go to build a building that needs a brick, well, that building kind of needs one fewer brick because this person's really good at bricks or whatever. And they'll have varying number of activation tokens. If they have more activation tokens, they're probably not that specialized. If they have just one activation token, they probably are really good at a lot of things. So that is an interesting concept. The other interesting concept, probably my second favorite thing about this game, is the way that the endgame scoring works. Everybody gets dealt two endgame scoring cards, and they pick one to keep. Sure, that's happened, and it's private until the end of the game. Sure, you've seen that in a million other games. But these score for everybody. Whoever has the most of this thing will get this many points. Whoever has the second most gets this many points. So you're not really hiding necessarily which one you are trying to complete. Really, you're hiding which ones are in the game. Right? Because, okay, I could be gaining a lot of coins. I could be gaining a lot of money. At the end, right in the last round, I just gained 30 coins. But does that mean anything? Are coins going to be scored? Well, if you have that card, then you know. But if it's up to somebody else, maybe somebody else has been getting a lot of coins throughout the game just, to bluff with you or something. And they know that something else is going to be scoring or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's a really clever concept. So while there are some interesting concepts with this game, and yes, at the end of the day, it's a very straightforward Euro game of gain resources, spend them for points. But any game that is gain resources, spend them for points, if you do it in a unique way, can be fun. But overall, I had a couple of problems with this game. I think it was just like that unique aspect wasn't really enough for me to actually enjoy the game. Because while those are kind of cool, right? The idea of, okay, sure, this one guy is better at these things and I'm going to do two actions or three actions. One, it did kind of drag the game a little bit, increased analysis paralysis. Actually, the game was really long. I played a 4-player game, and granted, it's a first game with teach and everything. It took like maybe 4.5 hours. Like, it was a long game. But the unique aspects about it, I mean, again, after playing a round or two, it just felt like part of the game, and it ceased to be unique, and it just felt like I was playing a pretty straightforward, gather resources and spend them for points kind of game that was kind of dry and kind of overstayed its welcome and pretty slow. And, just overall, I don't know. Like, I wanted to like it. I like Euro games. I like worker placement. I like the idea of putting out buildings. But some of the buildings felt a little bit imbalanced. And now, granted, I always feel rough, trying to talk about buildings and balance and stuff because, I'll say something, I don't think that's really balanced, and someone will show me the math. They'll pull down, look at the math here, see how balanced it is. I'm like, oh, okay. It didn't feel balanced when I was playing it, but maybe, I don't know. And there's a lot of events that can be pretty detrimental. I guess it's the Old West. Life kind of sucked back then, but, it never really... I always want to play games where everything feels really plentiful and I can do a lot of things and I can chain a lot of things instead of, I don't have enough resources for that and I'm really short on this. And even, like, contracts, right? So, like, there are spots where you can go to get contracts. Contracts are a big way for you to get points, but there are different colors of contracts, so there are different types of contracts, and there are different spaces for you to go to get a color of contract. I'll go to this place and I can pick up a blue contract, or go to this place and I can pick up a green contract, but the contracts are all shuffled into one deck. So it's possible that, like, you're like, well, there's only 2 colors out there and I can't pick up any of them. Even if I could complete them, I can't pick them up right now. That just felt kind of... And the fact that you're building out all these buildings out there, right? Like, we're talking about contracts. One of the cool things with contracts that I thought was actually pretty interesting was you'll have resources you need to spend to complete them. They'll have, like, a building, right? And it'll say, the owner of that building, if it's out there, will get 2 points. Also, if that building is out there at all, you'll get 7 points. If that building isn't out there, you'll get 4 points. So the least you'll get for this is 4. The most you'll get is 9, assuming that you built the building and you own it. But it's also possible that you get 7 points and another player gets 2, right? That's like they're like multi-layered contracts a bit. That's pretty interesting. But even with that, like, okay, there's 4 contracts sitting out there, which contract can I even build? Because, oh wait, I'm first player? Okay, so all the contract spots are open. Okay, so I can go ahead and pick any one of these. Okay, well, look at these buildings. There's 4 different buildings. I need to scan out on this big sea of all these buildings to see which building is out there and, who owns it. Wait, yeah, that's right, I built the newspapers, of course. I'm like, that's part of the reason why the game can take a long time and kind of overstay its welcome, is it's just... there's so much going on and none of it is really all that interesting. A couple other issues I have with the game: it does take up a rather huge amount of table space. Like, even on this pretty big tabletop we have here, Game Topper's link in the description box down below, there's barely enough room. I mean, it's a long, thin board, but then you have to add the cards on either side, and then you have your player boards, and then those have cards on them, so it really does eat up a lot of your table. And setup and teardown takes a long time. Like, I didn't actually really set up the game here. I just kind of threw it together, and all this took almost like 8 minutes just by myself, so it really takes like 15 minutes to set up and about the same to tear down. And the only component-wise issue that I really do have is that the black and blue player pieces are very similar. In really low light, or I played it against a blue playmat, also from Game Toppers, and it was really hard to tell which is which. I would be staring at them right next to each other and being like, wow, I'm surprised how I can't tell the difference. And I almost feel kind of bad crapping on the game here because, again, there were a lot of cool concepts. The way the workers come out, even the contracts, the endgame scoring cards, even the fact that there's a production and market volatility thing where you draw cubes to say, well, this is how much production you're going to get from different farms and this is how much things are going to be worth. I mean, that type of, economic balance in games is always fun, but I just really wish that there was more pizzazz and more fun. Now, granted, I am only talking about the basic version of the game, okay? There is an advanced version of the game that I didn't play. I played the basic game once, and, I definitely believe that you should know how you feel about a game after playing it once. I've been doing this for years. I always know how I feel after playing a game the first time. Unless very rare circumstances when a game is very volatile, lots of different options, lots of different things, especially campaign-type games, that type of thing, or lots of scenario-based games, I will have this feeling in my gut after playing it once where I'm like, maybe under different circumstances, or if we played it in a different way, then maybe my opinion would be a little bit different. And I have this desire to I feel like I need to play it again before I truly know how I feel. And I kind of got that feeling a little bit with this game. I was like, in a very, very small amount, I was like, maybe the advanced. And then I read the rules for the advanced game, and now I'm doubtful that the advanced game would really change anything for me. I mean, look, you could even say that, okay, Tom, this isn't a review, this is just a first impression, sure. But the fact that I don't really want to play it again, to try the advanced, that the thought of it makes me go, Do I really want to do? Okay, maybe if it's just 2 players, really focus up, that should also speak volumes towards the game. But you get these cool little flame tokens, so that's cool. All right, I feel like I've trashed on this game enough. I really wanted to like it. If you've played the advanced version or something, you can go ahead and put in the comments, or you can tell me I'm a terrible reviewer because I only played a game once. Now, I know I haven't been singing praises for this game, but every game we review, we do put a purchase link in the description box down below. Even if we say negative things about it, well, maybe you can buy it for yourself and say, ha, Tom, you're wrong. I'm going to play it and I'm going to love it, or whatever. Anyways, also in the description box down below, there's going to be game toppers. Check that out. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. I know I'm not singing praises for this game, but we always do put a purchase link to the